If you clicked on this video because you love jaw-dropping celebrity moments, quiet plot twists, and the kind of Hollywood secrets that make you say, wait, how did we miss that? You're in the right place. Because today isn't about the weddings that shut down cities or break the internet in real time. This is about the ones that slipped through the cracks. The ceremonies that happened behind closed doors, without countdowns, without paparazzi swarms, and without the world realizing what had just happened until it was already over. These are the celebrity weddings so secret that when the truth finally surfaced, everyone was left stunned, replaying the timeline and wondering how something so big stayed hidden for so long. When people think of celebrity weddings, they usually imagine chaos. Designers competing for the dress, helicopters hovering overhead, guests signing NDAs, and every detail dissected online before the couple even says, "I do." But some of the most fascinating celebrity love stories went in the exact opposite direction. They unfolded quietly, intentionally, almost invisibly. And that's what makes them unforgettable, because secrecy, especially at that level of fame, is never accidental. It says something about priorities, about protection, about love that doesn't need a spotlight to feel real. So today, we're peeled back the curtain on 21 celebrity weddings that happened so discreetly, so unexpectedly, that the world didn't just react with excitement, it reacted with shock. And as we move through these stories, you'll notice a pattern. These weren't just weddings that avoided attention. Many of them rewrote what people thought they knew about these stars entirely. And it only feels right to begin with a couple who mastered the art of privacy long before it became rare. Beyoncé and Jay-Z, the power couple who married in absolute silence. Beyoncé and Jay-Z are now synonymous with power, influence, and cultural dominance. Everything they do feels monumental, but when they decided to get married, they didn't make it a spectacle. There was no public venue, no media rollout, no carefully timed exclusive. Instead, they exchanged vows quietly in Jay-Z's apartment, surrounded only by a small circle of people they trusted. No official photos were released at the time, no immediate confirmation was offered. The world had to piece it together slowly, noticing subtle clues, cryptic lyrics, and eventual acknowledgments that came long after the moment itself had passed. It felt deliberate, almost symbolic, like they were saying this part of their lives belonged to them alone. That same energy carried into another couple who would later become known for their humor, authenticity, and unshakable bond. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, a wedding that happened before anyone could catch up. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds were already fan favorites, but when they decided to get married, they did it without the usual Hollywood buildup. The ceremony was held far from the typical celebrity hotspots, and information was kept so tightly controlled that even seasoned entertainment reporters were caught off guard. By the time confirmation surfaced, it felt like the world had missed a chapter. One moment they were dating, the next they were already husband and wife. No warning, no spectacle, just a quiet leap into marriage that left everyone scrambling to catch up. Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr., a love story from a quieter Hollywood era. Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr. met on set, built a relationship that fans adored, and then took the next step without turning it into a media event. Their wedding wasn't about headlines or brand moments. It was calm, intimate, and refreshingly normal. And that was the shock. Not that they got married, but that they managed to keep it grounded and untouched by the frenzy that usually follows stars of their magnitude. It felt like a reminder of a time when celebrities could still live parts of their lives off camera. Some secret weddings, though, don't just stay quiet, they actively disguise themselves. Jennifer Aniston and Justin Theroux pulled off one of the most clever celebrity misdirections in recent memory. With the public already speculating endlessly about when they would tie the knot, they decided not to confirm anything at all. Instead, guests were invited to what they believed was a birthday party. Only after arriving did it become clear that they were actually witnessing a wedding. By the time the realization hit, the vows had already been exchanged. It wasn't just private, it was strategic, a reminder that sometimes the best way to keep a secret is to hide it in plain sight. Cameron Diaz and Benji Madden, a private home wedding that shocked fans. Cameron had spent years in the public eye, while fiercely guarding her personal life. So when word got out that she had married Benji in an intimate ceremony at her own home, people were genuinely stunned. There were no dramatic leaks, no staged reveals, just a confirmation that arrived after the fact, leaving fans to process how something so significant had happened without any build-up at all. It didn't feel like a Hollywood wedding, it felt like a real one. Gwyneth Paltrow and Chris Martin, a marriage wrapped in mystery. Despite their immense fame, they kept their wedding deeply personal. There was no attempt to turn it into a public celebration or media moment. The lack of details only added to the intrigue. People weren't just curious about what the wedding looked like, they were fascinated by the choice to keep it so contained. It made the relationship feel almost mythical, like something happening in a parallel world just beyond public reach. Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, the wedding the world expected but never saw. Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt were followed relentlessly for years. Their relationship, their family, their every move was treated like global news. So expectations for their wedding were massive. But when it finally happened, it didn't unfold the way anyone expected. The ceremony was intimate, family-focused, and deliberately understated. No live coverage, no grand reveal, just a quiet confirmation that one of the most famous couples on Earth had chosen privacy over spectacle. Keira Knightley and James Wrighton, a celebrity wedding that looked almost ordinary. Keira Knightley married James Wrighton in a ceremony that was almost shockingly low-key. For someone of her stature, the understated nature of the wedding caught people off guard. The photos that eventually surfaced felt candid and ordinary, more like snapshots from a friend's celebration than a celebrity event, and that was exactly the point. It stripped away the illusion and revealed something beautifully human. Benedict Cumberbatch and Sophie Hunter, a timeless ceremony away from the spotlight. When their engagement was announced, fans were excited, but the actual ceremony arrived with minimal noise. There was no extended media cycle, no dramatic reveals, just a subtle acknowledgement that they had married, allowing the moment to exist without being dissected. It felt timeless, almost deliberately removed from modern celebrity culture. Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher, a marriage that happened without warning. Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher met young, drifted apart, and reconnected years later in a way that felt almost cinematic. Yet when they decided to get married, they did it without fanfare. The confirmation came casually, catching people completely off guard. No countdown, no spectacle, just a quiet transition from couple to spouses that left fans stunned by how effortlessly it happened.
Zoe Kravitz and Carl Glusman, a wedding that arrived out of nowhere. Their relationship existed largely outside the constant glare of paparazzi, and when they married, it happened quietly, without the build-up people expected. The news arrived softly, almost as an afterthought, making the secrecy itself one of the most memorable parts of their story. Scarlett Johansson and Colin Jost, the marriage everyone somehow missed. Despite her global fame, the announcement felt understated and gentle. There was no dramatic reveal, just a simple confirmation that left the public collectively saying, "Wait, when did that happen?" Emily Ratajkowski and Sebastian Bear McClard, a wedding that broke every expectation. The simplicity of the ceremony defied expectations. It didn't match the glamorous image people had projected onto her. Instead, it felt intentionally minimal, almost defiant. Kristen Bell and Dax Shepard, proof that love doesn't need a grand stage. Their wedding was remarkably simple, and when details emerged, people were struck by how unpretentious it was. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, the private vows behind a public wedding. Despite the public ceremony, discussions of private vows revealed a deeper desire for intimacy away from the spotlight. Ed Sheeran and Cherry Seaborn, a secret wedding hidden in plain sight. When he casually confirmed he was married, fans were stunned, realizing they had missed an entire chapter. Sophie Turner and Joe Jonas, a surprise ceremony no one saw coming. The timing and simplicity made it feel like the world wasn't meant to know yet. David Bowie and Iman, two icons who chose privacy over spectacle. Their quiet confirmation made the love story even more powerful. Reese Witherspoon and Jim Tott, a quiet step forward away from the headlines. Their wedding felt natural, not performative. George Clooney and Amal Clooney, the bachelor who finally surprised the world. The shock wasn't secrecy, it was disbelief that it happened at all. Daniel Craig and Rachel Weisz, an old Hollywood love story kept private. A tiny ceremony that felt timeless and elegant. Margot Robbie and Tom Ackerley, a superstar wedding done on their own terms. Quiet, controlled, and completely intentional. Leighton Meester and Adam Brody, the romance that stayed hidden until I Do. A relationship protected so well, the wedding felt like a reveal. When you step back and look at all these stories, a pattern emerges. In a world obsessed with visibility, these couples chose stillness. They chose intimacy. They chose to protect something sacred. And maybe that's what makes these weddings so shocking. Not just the secrecy, but the intention behind it. Because in Hollywood, privacy isn't just rare, it's powerful.